Are video games a cure or an addiction?
I'm on the fence with both.
Mhm.
You want to go first? Or you
No, you can go first.
So I think it's weird. Like I think from 2017 to 2021, 22, I had an addiction to Overwatch. Like I literally had an addiction. Like it was like I had to play Overwatch every single day. And I've never been addicted to a game like that before. You know what I mean? I've always played video games my whole life.
We used to play Overwatch a lot.
Yeah.
We used to play Overwatch
I still
a lot.
play, but not like I did. But there was like a 5-year span where it was like I had that Tyrone Bigham thing going on. Like I had to play Overwatch. That's all I thought about, you know, and then just think about stuff in the past, like, yeah, I did have an addiction, you know what I mean? But also I look at it as a cure too, because that helps me relax.
Mhm.
Not just Overwatch, but just me just, you know, coming home, just sitting down, just escaping the world
Mhm.
and just playing. It mellows me out. So that's why I say it's kind of like a little bit of both. Yes, it could be both because I do think video games are an addiction.
Mhm.
But also I do feel that it is a cure too, even though your partner may not understand if they don't play, but it's just like you don't understand like you're someone being home playing their game all day could be frustrating, but it's better than them being in the streets.
Right.
It's better than them going out doing something they have no business doing. You know what I mean? Just like I look at it as both. Like I know Malik plays Street Fighter almost every day, you know,
Mhm.
and I don't know if that's his dopamine. I don't know if that's his, he just loves to do it, but I know like you know, he loves Street Fighter. I know Siege was his thing for years, you know, and now it's Street Fighter 6, you know, and you like the open world stuff. So
Mhm.
I think it's a 50-50. Yeah, like I did have an addiction. I
Mhm.
did. I'm not afraid to admit I had an addiction, you know, but now like I look at it more as a cure for me now because I just that's my way to mellow when I get home from work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know how y'all feel about it or whatever. Or
You want me to go, Malik?
Yeah, you can go.
See, I don't think that these things need to be mutually exclusive.
Mhm.
I feel it can be a cure
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people. I think it could be an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't know if y'all have, like, I've said recently, I don't play video games as much as I normally did.
Yes.
Well, when I really sit down and break down why, it's because obviously I've been hurt. I haven't been to work.
Right.
Well, when I'm at work, I see a lot of messed up things.
Yes.
So how do I combat that? I play video games.
Right.
So that was my escape while I'm at work or whatever. And if you look at my hours, I played a lot more there at the station than I did at home.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm at home, I'm relaxing. My mind is cool. I'll play them if I'm like looking forward to something, but not as much.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a cure. I would say there was a time when, just like you said, where I was just like, I have to play the game. I have to play the game. And I was just in the game and I was in the game. At that point, it was, I'm not going to say really it was an addiction, but it was consuming. People I feel have an addiction are the ones that's like at their computer and they're like, oh man, I can't get up and go to the bathroom. I have to pee in this bottle. And which we've been in houses to where you're like, what the freak is going on? Like, oh man, all they do is game and they don't leave their room and stuff like that. Like that's an addiction.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, but I don't think video games in itself being a cure or an addiction is mutually exclusive. I feel it could be both depending on how the person is using it. You know, if you want no contact with the real world and you just living through the video game, then it can be more of an addiction. But if you're a person that's like, man, look, I just use this to mellow out. And you know what I mean? Like you said, I'm not out there doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing.
Right.
You know, so I'm just in here gaming. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right.
But honestly, I think speaking of what you said, having a partner who doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that ever happened for me was Overwatch coming out.
Right.
Because then Jazz got hooked. And then Jazz could see like, oh, okay, he's just using this. Not that she was ever on my back or anything about it, but like Then she became a gamer. Now she's like, okay, well now I understand why he's,
Into this.
the game and why he's, so yeah, I feel as though it can be both.
And now she's on Marvel Rivals every day.
Yeah, now she's on Ravels, and now I be talking to her on the way home, and then I be like, "You ain't even hear what I said." I'm like, "You playing Rivals?" It's just like, so now I'm on the other end.
Right.
What you think, Malik?
For me, I've always hated this discussion because this same argument can be applied to everything.
Yes.
And with everything, it's all about moderation. Like food, 100% necessary for life. But if all you do is just consume food, you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah, it's addiction, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter what it is, there's only a few things in this world that people consume or use that is either considered completely good or completely bad. Mostly, there's only one thing that can be considered completely bad, and that's like hard narcotics.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what it does to you, it is bad.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's all about how it's consumed, how it's used, what you're doing with it. A lot of people would look at me and would say I'm addicted to video games because I put in lots of hours almost every day playing video games. But never once have I ever skipped out on anything.
See, I don't think most people would say
because
that
I'm
about
playing
you.
video games. No, I'm saying I'm not
Because
saying
you have
you
a
don't.
job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have a family and you do everything else.
Yeah, but someone from the outside looking in would say
If you say the hours you play.
he plays video games at a minimum of 4 to 5 hours every single day. On weekends, that can hit upwards of 8 or 9. They're going to say, this man's addicted to video games. But then I turn around and say, well, I make it to every single one of my kids' sporting events. I go to their doctor's appointments. I go to work. I do all of that. I just do this when I'm relaxed. I still go to the gym and exercise. Outside of those things, when I'm not doing those things, I'm gaming.
Yeah, but see, 4 or 5
No
hours.
one's going to say that's an addiction.
But see, 4 or 5 hours is really not a lot. Now, when you got people playing 18, 16, 18 hours, then you'd be like, oh, that's a little bit excessive.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, because there's a lot of people that say, oh, you should only play video games for maybe an hour a day.
Oh, yeah. Then, yeah.
Where on a weekend or a day off for me, I can easily pull 10 to 12.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm not doing it straight. And like I said, if my kids got something going on or they need to go somewhere or I need to go I never skirt out on my responsibilities for video games. It's just, if I'm not doing anything, most likely I'm playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do to relax.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not say that's an addiction, because addiction for me is when you can't stop yourself from doing stuff you need to do because of the video games or because of whatever. Like you were saying, Q, you go in and people will refuse to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because of the video game. That's addiction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just having long gaming sessions, it's not necessarily an addiction, in my opinion. Even
refusing to shower and all of that.
Refusing to shower,
be on the game. That's
refusing to eat, refusing to work, refusing to. If your wife's like, "Hey, come lay down and watch a movie with me," and you're like, "No, I'm playing a game." Okay, now it's getting into those realms.
Well, it depends on the movie.
Like Madam Web.
But, hey.
But like I said, everyone tries to point the blame at video games, but this can be said about anything. These same people could be like, hey, I go and golf every single day, several hours a day.
Which is expensive, by the way.
Which is way more expensive.
Y'all fishers.
Fishing.
Oh, my God.
Like, you can say that about literally everything. But it seems to be only things like video games that seems to get the people's flack.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? And I've said this before on here, and to the older people, stop. Oh man, kids don't need to be playing video games. There's kids making more money than you off of video games.
Yep.
Like, I remember this. The one dude was like, "Oh yeah, I took my son's PlayStation. It was at the station. I took my son's PlayStation and I made him go join the team." And I'm like, "Is he athletic?" No. I was like, "What game was he playing?" "Oh, he was always on that Call of Duty." "Was he good?" "Well, I guess so. I don't. So you forced him to go play a sport that he's not good at? Well, he could probably go to college for that. He could probably go to college for that." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
People, that's a big thing, is people's conceived notions about video games. They haven't come to grips with the times.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when we were kids, those video games will never lead to nothing. But for all you know, it might lead to them making video games, which is a very lucrative career.
Absolutely.
Like,
or even just being a pro player.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't really a thing when we were younger.
Well, I'm talking about now.
Nowadays, yeah. But they're like, but nowadays you got people that's like our age that didn't think about that when they were kids because that wasn't a possibility.
Right.
And they're still applying that same thought process as if it's not a possibility now.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I got on that, though. I just said, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I feel as though it's not one way or the other. I agree 100% with Malik. It's all about moderation. But really, it's all about what works in your schedule.
Self-control and everything.
Yeah. But I mean, if you got the time to play 10 hours a day and it ain't hurting you, then hey, that's what works for you. That's what works for you.
Right.